Hello and welcome to the second edition of the Essence of Nutrition in Tea. And today I want to share with you a couple more ingredients from the Mission4Change CommuniTEA. My resources, if you're looking for programs, YouTube, podcast, anything to do with movement-based activities, you can find that all in my full resource there. So you've got the QR code, but you also have my link tree. So what are we highlighting? We are continuing to highlight the community tea. And the reason for that is there is so much abundance in this blend. I really want to shine a light on what the overall essence of this tea is. And so today we're going to focus in on a couple more ingredients. We're looking at lemongrass and orange blossom. If you're interested in the tea and you wish to order or you wish to make a donation, then there's the two ways that you can. Stephen Moyo's Mission4Change, and the money that's raised from this tea goes directly back to all of the needs of the Moyo family in Malawi so that we can help support them to grow and nurture their family and the community that they live in. And you can also find the tea on the Cape Breton Tea Company website, so happy to have you there. But let's dive in. So I'm just going to hold up the package. Because when I'm holding the herbs, it always feels so much better. There's an energy that comes with them. So what you see here is the idea about lemongrass. This special herb promotes a way to center and focus. And a lot of times when we're trying to come into something new, make a change, we actually don't know quite how we want to get there. So we kind of flounder around. Sometimes it's like when I go to the kitchen to cook, I have to clean the kitchen first and then I can focus in on what I'm going to cook. It's the same when you're trying to make a change. You've got a goal in mind. You have an intention that you've set. How are you going to get there? And the Mission4Change CommuniTEA, I love saying that very fast. This is all about how when we come into community, we can be empowered for change. And it says that right on the front of the package. So when we have these herbs that come together, they're not working individually, like you've just chosen, I'm gonna have this herb because it's good for. We're actually coming together and we're creating a whole network of opportunities, same as we have the network of organ systems within the body. And as you see with the symbol over there on the left, tea with intention, 5 elements, this tea has ingredients that represent all of the elements. So we're bringing a balance and flow to so much more because of the way they've been put together. All right, so when you go to focus in on something, you get scattered and you need to be pulled in. Well, this is where lemongrass can be very helpful. It's a way to promote clarity, resiliency, the opportunity for you to find where your purpose is and drive towards that, or maybe what your spirit is guiding you for. There's also a connection that happens between the brain and the body for a dynamic energy. What I mean by dynamic energy is sometimes when we're scattered, we're using energy, but it's not coming to fruition. And so what happens with dynamic energy is it hones in, but then it lifts you up and it activates so that you have this opportunity to engage directly where you want to go instead of around in circles or here and there. So this gives you support for your thoughts and your desired outcomes. I did add some of the physical aspects of lemongrass because it's helpful for so many things. But again, you could, if you target in just because you say, I'm going to use lemongrass because it's good for, but we don't know what the body has as a priority. We also don't know how the other systems are imbalanced and how we could bring them into balance. So rather than try to guess that or anticipate, what we can do is really look at lemongrass as a way for us to really find our focus. So let's bring lemongrass into a focus for us. And my suggestion is we hold the 3 burners. This is heart focus, stomach, and intestines. It has to do with respiration, digestion, elimination. But we're going to bring it in heart center so you can think about it that way. I'm just going to step back so you can see. So I'm just going to take my fingertips and place them right in the center of the chest. And I'm pointing in towards the center. And then I'm going to go to where my stomach is. And I'm going to connect my fingertips there. I'm actually going to move my thumb there. And then I'm going to take my 2 fingertips and I'm going to go below the belly button to connect to the intestines. So we have respiration, digestion, elimination, but we've got a connection at the center of the heart, our stomach, and the intestines. So what I invite you to do here is to just take a deep breath and notice how that feels. And let that go. And I'm just noticing a softness coming into my feet. You might be sitting down to do this, but because I stood, there's just a softness. So if you think about lemongrass and you think about going into action, this is an opportunity to do that with a calmness. That allows us to be a little bit more focused. Okay, there we go. And so I'm rocking forward now on my feet, which just tells me I've done enough. All right, so that's a great way for you to just really bring in focus, and we brought lemongrass in with us to do that. So let's move on to orange blossoms. So orange blossoms in here are like a refreshing, you know, when you have the smell of orange, it just lifts you up and it gives you a brightness. Well, this is a way for our body, our mind, and our spirit to all be engaged together to help us to move forward. So we created that calmness with the lemongrass, but now with the orange blossom, we want to be able to move forward with an ease. And this is going to provide that. There's a lightness, a clarity that comes to mind with this herb. And when we have it, we just feel well. So it's a great one to think of as an overall arching kind of thing. And again, I provide a little bit of the physical background beside it. So pain relief, cancer support, reduced inflammation, those are things that we would often try to target. But just think about how orange just does this. It's just opening up. So what I'm going to suggest here, and you can stay seated to do this. I'm going to stay seated rather than standing, and you could stand. We're just going to roll on the tops of the foot, not on top of the foot, but we're going to roll on top of the foot, like if we were standing on it. So just on that. And I'm just going to get you to go around in a clockwise direction. And if you're seated, you're going to notice that on the sit bone as well, into the tailbone. And we're just going to roll around and just feel the gentleness of it. And this lovely circling helps us with foot sensors, help us connect to the ground. But it also is a way for us to connect to the stomach and the spleen. That's part of the earth element. And this gentleness, you just might notice as you start rolling that the lower back starts to soften, or that as you're rolling, it just feels like it starts to coordinate a little bit better. And what we're doing is we're connecting in with the orange blossom while we're doing this, and just bringing this into a focus. Okay. And this is a way for us to get action to move us forward with that change that we're going to be making, or the way that we want to be thinking differently, or reaching out to others. So now let's connect orange blossom and lemongrass together, because as we were talking about as a community, we want to bring everything together in a connection. And so each sets of herbs that I bring together are going to start to give us a much bigger picture of how this tea really works. And when we get to the end of the series, it's going to be a way for us to really look at the whole encompass piece. So orange blossom and lemongrass. Often when we approach changing a situation on our own, we can become paralyzed and confused in how to move forward. Connection and collaboration are key to finding support and being inspired to do more. We can't act by ourselves. That's why tea is it's a ritual. It's something that you can do with other people, take time to have a conversation, stop on what would they call the coffee break, but maybe it's a tea break, or going to a friend's house and asking them to put the water on and just make that cup of tea. It changes the conversation and the ease with which that conversation can happen. So the combination of these two blends brings about a clarity and focus on a goal, while inspiring the first of actions to remove any paralysis or fear that might be there that keeps you from going forward. And this begins the journey of healing through connection. Time with these herbs for reflection and noticing produces new insights and celebrations of changes. And these you might not have noticed on the fly. They would have just happened. They were just there and you didn't notice. But because you're taking the time to stop for a few moments and think about what connections and changes are happening, you start to realize there are some really incredible ones. And sometimes what happens is people will have a change occur and they won't even remember where they changed to because they've forgotten whatever the challenge was. But they do notice what the next challenge is that's in line. And so sometimes they miss the celebration piece. So what I'm suggesting to you now with Orange Blossom and Lemongrass is take the time for the celebrating. Take the time for connection, to being present, and to notice. So taking your fingertips, just put them on your forehead and take a couple deep breaths. And this time we're just going to rock backward and forward. So you'll notice that the lower back is just going to soften. And as you come forward into the toes, you're going to notice how the back changes. It goes into a straight, but then it goes into a curve. I'm just going to bring that in. Nice deep breath. Make that connection. And one more. Perfect. Okay, we got it. So, I just wanted you to know who the Moyos are. This beautiful family has had some major changes happening in the last little bit, and we'll be excited to share that on the next podcast that comes around with my sister Charlene. And this is a podcast area at the end of each month, which is called Compassionate Living. And we share more about the Moyo family, but also about the revelations that my sister has in finding ways that she can help and how she asks the questions to find out what is even needed. So let's move forward from there. When you purchase a tea, a small bag is worth $15 and a large bag is worth $25. We just wanted you to notice what some of the items are that we'll be able to support this family with as a result of the fundraising. We had a lot of fundraising happen this last week, and we are so excited because the family actually is going to have permanent sanitary products, which means 18 months of support and a possibility of employment with the company that's supporting them. And so this is a brand new piece that's coming forward as a result of the outreach and the support that's coming from you. So I wanted to just point that out. And if there's any way that you can make a difference, join us. Get a bag of tea, start looking at these herbs and start following along with me to understand the power of the herbs and how they work together. We are going to have one incredible tea blend at the end of this whole investigation as we really unearth the depth of what different combinations in the tea blends with the Cape Breton Tea Company can create.